Hello and welcome to episode 90 of the EdTech Takeout from Grantwood AEA. My name's Jonathan Wiley and I'm here again with Mindy Carney.
Episode 90, hit a 10. Hit a 10. It's a 10 mark. We're 10 away from 100.
I guess, yeah. Should we have a big celebration at 100?
Define celebration. Your idea of celebration and my idea of celebration might be different.
Where might we be 10 episodes from now? We might be in the summer, who knows?
Yeah, right. It will at least be, I would think, the fall, right?
Maybe before then. We'll see.
You think so? Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Boy. We're going to have to talk about that off air.
I think we might.
All right. News and follow-up. Not a lot today.
Not a whole lot today,
right.
but just like last time, I think that gives us more time to talk to our amazing guest today.
That's right.
So, we'll fire some of this out and get it done. First up, I have more toolbar news.
Okay.
We had toolbar update last week from Google Slides. This time, it's a new toolbar for Screencastify.
Oh.
They have redone their toolbar, which used to live in that bottom left-hand corner of the screen down there.
Yeah.
And it was pretty static, but, you can do different things now. You can drag it around the screen and put it in different places.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
You can also do fun stickers and shapes that are kind of like, Zoom reactions type of thing. They've got some emojis and thumbs up and party things.
Party things.
Well, like that.
You're throwing a party on Screencastify.
Well, there you go. Why not? You can draw a rectangle around things.
Oh, I like that.
So if you wanted to highlight something, and you could draw a rectangle around it. They've got the usual kind of, mouse clicks where you have the halo on it or the focus, which they had before, but they also have fireworks.
Oh, good. I love that.
I think that's the Screencastify equivalent of the rainbow pen or something like that. So you just click and then fireworks appear on the screen. So I think that could be kind of interesting.
That is kind of interesting. Yeah, sure.
And you can do all of those things on the toolbar if you want, but they've also got keyboard shortcuts. So if you're one of those people, and I'm just going to say, let's say, for instance, I was one of those people that didn't like the toolbar on the screen when you were screen recording, you could leave the toolbar off and then just memorize a few keyboard shortcuts, and then you can use those to turn on the mouse focus or turn off the mouse focus or turn on the fireworks and turn off the fireworks.
Yeah. Are you a keyboard shortcut user? I am.
I am, yeah.
You probably make your own. Do you make your own?
Do I make my own? I have for a few apps, like for Snagit and some things like that. Yeah. But that gets tricky because there's so many keyboard shortcuts already built into your computer that you're like, no, I can't use that one because that's for something else.
Yeah, right.
At one point, I tried to do an A to Z, Control plus A is this, Control plus B is this, Control plus C is this. And they all do different things, don't they? Whether you're selecting all or bolding or copying or pasting. And I thought that would be kind of a fun exercise to do, just go through. And, I think that's part of digital literacy as well, keyboard shortcuts and things like that. So
I saw that Jen Giffen just the other day posted a picture of a student's keyboard that had all of the shortcuts, on one of those those things you lay over top of your keyboard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, that would be kind of fun because you could, there, like you said, there's a keyboard shortcut for everything, but sometimes it's just a matter of finding it, and knowing, taking the moment to go and find what it is. So I was like, maybe I need one of those because I really like keyboard shortcuts, so.
We could do a whole episode on keyboard shortcuts.
We probably could, but no one would want to listen. That sounds like
No, I don't think it would be a riveting episode. So next keyboard shortcut on the list is... let's not go there.
All right. What's next on your list here?
I've got a post here by Richard Byrne about Google Meet transcripts. He has come across a Chrome extension that will automatically save the transcript of a meeting into a Google document. So as soon as your meeting ends, basically, it opens a new tab and we'll put the transcript in there for you. And the transcript is timestamped with the name of the speaker.
Nice.
So I thought that was kind of an interesting accessibility type of idea on there.
Huh.
I don't know how 100% accurate it is. I've not tried it out yet, but
at least it's a start too. Yeah. Like that's the nice thing. Well, even when like just making a transcript from like a Google Drive video or something like that, like I used to, just to get started, would turn on voice typing and just let it ride. And, you know, at least it gives you something to start with, because if you're trying to create that stuff on your own, I mean, it's like an impossible task. It's just, you know. But
the ability to like separate it out by speaker and
that's awesome.
it on there is nice to have on there. So
yeah,
I like that. Okay. So I'll link to that if anybody's interested.
Nice.
Came across a new podcast I thought I'd also share on here, because we have, pre-pandemic, we had Peter DeWitt come and visit us fairly frequently at Grant Wood. He was there a few times a year, and so he's doing a new podcast.
Oh, nice!
If anybody wants to listen to that, it's called Leaders Coaching Leaders, and Peter interviews some different thought leaders in education.
Oh, nice!
And they cover a variety of different topics, from SEL to, multilingual learners in the classroom. So all kinds of different things. It's just started. They've only got maybe 5 episodes out so far. But if you are interested in a interesting podcast, I think we would both give Peter DeWitt our recommendation. He does a lot of great stuff.
Oh, yeah. I am a huge fan of Peter DeWitt. Total fangirl.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, you've got one more, and then I've got one. What else you got here?
All right, I've got my perfect presentation, which is something I saw.
Humble of you.
I just thought I'd share my perfect presentation.
Look, it's a link to one of my own presentations.
Yes. This was shared by Tony Vincent on Twitter, actually.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is interesting, because there's a lot of those slide template type of websites out there. There's Slides Carnival and Slide Mania and all this kind of thing. Well, there's a small twist on this one, because this one was created by 2 10th grade students.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so if you can read their bios on here and what they like to do, but 2 10th grade students put together this website of Google slide templates. And you know what? The templates are actually really good. So
nice.
You can have a look at all the templates. I mean, not too dissimilar to some of the other sites you're using, but so if you're looking for some new ideas, some more unique ideas, then you can explore the brains of these 2 10th graders and what they've been putting together here, and take a look at some of their fun designs.
Yeah, they're different. It's hard to find stuff, I think, that looks different. They've got, I'll bookmark this right now and try to be fun to use one in just a presentation at some point in time and say, oh, this template was designed by a 10th grade student, not by me.
Yeah, and just to be clear, it's not my perfect presentation, but the website is called My Perfect Presentation.
That's funny. All right, so to round up news and follow-up, just this last week, I think it was, Highlander Institute, and we talked about Highlander Institute when Beth Swantz was on, talking about blended and personalized learning. They usually have a conference. We were supposed to go last year, and all I remember is that I was traveling the Friday before Easter, and so I know it must traditionally be this week at some point in time. Anyway, they are offering a spring learning series as opposed to, I believe, to that conference called COVID Clarity. And they are on Thursdays for the next 3 weeks. So starting April 1st, they will have Centering on Instructional Equity. So then the next one would be April 8th would be Leading Inclusive Change. And then the following Thursday would be Designing for Enduring Improvement. And they are, I think if I remember correctly, an hour and a half in the evenings. I am unable to attend any of them live, so I didn't see that they would send me the recording, but I did sign up for them, because a lot of times if you sign up for that kind of stuff, they'll send you the recording afterwards. But I thought that those might be interesting, and they kind of connected with some of the topics that we've had on the talked about on the podcast in the past. So we'll put a link in the show notes for you to register. You can register for all 3 of them individually. you can, just choose one that you think is the most interesting, but might be some topics of that, are just really present right now and what's going on. So thought I would share that with you people.
That's a great share, Mindy. Yeah, lots of great topics on there. And I think you will normally be able to just get that recording if you sign up for it. In fact, I signed up for a webinar recently, or I was going to sign up for a webinar recently, and it gave me the option. It said, do you want to just get the recording, or do you want to attend live?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think we might see more of that now.
Yeah, I do that a lot with the Seesaw stuff because I would prefer, a lot of times the Seesaw stuff I feel like it is, in the afternoon, and my kids are way too busy with sports for me to ever sit down in the evening and watch a live webinar, but it is nice to always have them. And then, you can always go back and watch them again or use it when you need it or whatever. So,
all right. So that's it for news and follow-up?
You betcha. All right, so up next, served to you piping hot, our main course today, which always sounds weird when we have a guest and I say it this way, I feel like, but served to you piping hot, Eric Curts on a shiny silver platter. Here he is.
He's hot stuff.
That's the best introduction I've had in a long time.
Oh, so Eric, we talk about you all the time on the podcast. So it seems like it's only fitting that you're here, especially since you're coming to virtual ITEC, in April. So right around the corner. But for those of our listeners who maybe are wondering, the age old question that Wiley always loves to ask is, who is Eric Curts? Let's get real deep here.
Awesome. Well, hey guys, thank you so much for having me on. It is absolutely a pleasure and honor because I love what you guys do. It is such a great podcast and always valuable information. And I love your banter. I love everything about it. So it's a pleasure for me to be here. So who is Eric Curts? Well, I am an educator. This is my 29th year in education. I live in Northeast Ohio, and I started off as a middle school math teacher here, taught middle school math for 7 years, and then switched over to technology, became like a tech coach or a tech integration person. And I've been doing that ever since. So currently I work at a regional service center, serving about 35 school districts in Northeast Ohio, supporting them with tech integration ideas, professional development, Googly resources, things like that. That's my day job. Then on the side, I'm a Google trainer, Google innovator. I run the website controlaltachieve.com, where I share all my stuff and encourage people to check that out if they haven't had a chance to be there recently. Always trying to add new resources and videos and projects and things like that to the site. And I did have my book, the Control Alt Achieve book, came out last year as well, which is filled with dozens of creative, practical ways to use Google tools with your students. So that's the professional end of it. Other than that, I'm a grandpa to two wonderful, beautiful grandchildren who thankfully live about 10 minutes away from me.
Oh, nice.
So if I'm not doing tech stuff, I'm over there playing with the grandkids, or they're over here playing. And of course, beyond that, picked up a lot of hobbies during COVID. Bird watching, mushroom hunting, kombucha brewing.
Oh, nice. Wow.
Yeah, I picked up a lot of things. You got to do something to keep your sanity. So anyway, so that's me in a nutshell.
Well, let me share. I don't know if this will be a fun story or not, but this is how you first got on my radar, Eric, and it was a number of years ago. So I thought you might get a kick out of this, but I think the first time I heard of Eric Curts was through a Google site you created for your school. I think it was like North Canton or something.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
yes.
And it was way back in the day when the old Google sites, which were. They were hard to make look good, and so I used your website a lot as an example of you can make a Google site look good. It takes some effort and it takes some time, but look at this. Here's an example, because we had schools thinking, oh, we should just do a Google site. That would save us so much on hosting and all the rest. I'm like, well, yeah, but it's not as easy as you think.
Right. Oh yeah, I love the old Google sites, and I mean I love the new one too. It's gorgeous. But I did love the flexibility that you could get in and edit the HTML with a little bit of HTML knowledge. Yes, you really could make those sites look pretty nice. And so that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
how we
that was
ended up
stuck in my head.
connecting.
Yeah, I mean, the other one that I remember is you used to do these like Google Doc tutorial type things, and you had the paperless classroom with Google Docs, and that was before Google Classroom.
Yeah, and you adapted that for iPads.
Yes, that's right.
And I remember you doing such a phenomenal job, and so I like shared in reverse, whenever I would be sharing that, say, okay, and if you're using iOS, here's this amazing, a document as well. So I very much appreciate, and I love that idea of people iterating on top of each other. And I think it's just a mindset, and I think most educators have this mindset, not always. I remember when I first started teaching, some people were like, oh, I've got this awesome lesson I do, but you can't have it. And don't anybody, look, I'm going to do this amazing thing with my kids, and, very controlling of it. And then there's the other mindset of, hey, here's this awesome thing. Why don't you try it too? And I love that mindset where folks, just give stuff away, put stuff out there and say, yeah, because there's nothing that I've ever created that, is original. I was inspired by somebody. I saw something and, oh, here's my twist on it. So I love that. I love when people take things and make something new with them. So thanks for doing that.
Well, we weren't going to talk teacher pay teachers today, but, since you brought it up,
hey,
it's Mindy's favorite subject.
I didn't say those words.
No.
No, and listen, I don't mean to I'm not taking a stand at all on anything like that. Hey, whatever anybody wants to do, that's awesome. More power to you. I just, I know that I have benefited from the free exchange of knowledge and resources. It has, made me a better person. It's helped me learn new things. It's helped me reach more people than I ever could any other way. And I just thank educators who share that mindset.
Yeah, well, you give back a lot. I know the last few months or during the pandemic shutdown, I can't remember how many times I shared your Google Hangouts video series because we had all these schools that were, thinking, wait, so how does this work in Hangouts? Or they tried it in Zoom, but they were stuck with that 45-minute limit and things like that. And that whole series was a lifesaver for people.
For sure.
Well, I appreciate it. It's great. I was doing it for my local schools because that's what they needed. But then it's like, hey, if it helps them, maybe it'll help others. And so, that's the idea. Awesome.
So, Eric, I think I mentioned this, but in case people don't know, you are coming to virtual ITEC in April, right around the corner, and you're kind of one of the featured speakers. So what are your plans for ITEC? Do you mind giving us a little bit of a sneak peek at what your sessions will be for ITEC?
Yeah. So the 4 sessions that we ended up going with, the first one is making and taking tours with Google Earth. And so we're going to be looking at that project tool that was added to Google Earth, within the last year or so, that allows you to build a virtual tour inside of Google Earth, basically replacing Google Tour Builder, not Creator. That's its own beast, but Google Tour Builder, which is being sunset this summer, that has all been replicated very nicely inside of Google Earth projects. And actually, even better, I think. I mean, there's a lot more things you can do with it. So we're going to be looking at how to, create your own virtual tours, maybe as a teacher wanting to, teach your students content. But I'm hoping as students, this is another wonderful option for a student rather than just maybe doing a slideshow or a video or whatever. Here's one more option for them to show their learning, and it can apply, to any subject area. Anytime we want to tie something to the real world, whether we're visiting other countries or exploring biomes or doing something in history. I've seen math ones where people are finding, buildings that are shaped as different solids. You can make tours out of just about anything. So we'll be looking at that in one of the sessions. Then I'm also doing one called Holy Sheets, which is on using Google spreadsheets in creative ways. And so, and it really is about that. It's not, I mean, I love spreadsheets, but it's not, we're not going to be talking VLOOKUPs and pivot tables. And it's not that kind of a session, which I absolutely do love. It's all about what can your students do with as far as learning projects, And so it's things, like pixel art and using Flippity to make educational review games and building learning databases and doing formative assessments that self-check the students. And it's getting random writing prompts and all kinds of things like that, using spreadsheets in a way that maybe we normally wouldn't think of for student learning activities. I've got another one similarly on Google Drawings. So awesome uses of Google Drawings in the classroom, same kind of thing, just a collection of loads and loads of creative ways, whether, it's creating a meme, whether it's having a student put themselves into a composite photo somewhere else, whether it's drag and drop poetry, graphic organizers, clickable images, all kinds of really creative things, math manipulatives that we can do with drawings. And then the last one is probably one of my favorite sessions that I ever do. And it seems to be one that people just, really flock to. And that's the hipster Google session. And the idea being, if you're a hipster, you're somebody who knows about something cool before it's cool that nobody else knows about. And so it's basically taking the lesser known Google tools, saying, okay, we know about Gmail, we know about Docs, but here's 50, 60 little things that came out of 20% time at Google or through their Area 120 or through whatever, just things that we may not have realized were Google products and how we can use them in our class. And we just ripped through a ton of those in that session. But that one's always different because there's constantly new things coming out. So I enjoy that one a lot. So those are the 4 that I am going to be presenting at the conference and really looking forward to doing that.
Well, let me ask you about your Google Earth one. And this is, it's kind of maybe in the same environment, I guess, but you mentioned briefly about Tour Creator and, we got expeditions going away. If you don't get asked here from me, you're probably going to get asked by somebody at ITEC, hey, my expeditions are going away. What do we do? I mean, do you have any bright ideas on that one? We're taking all options here. Oh,
sure thing. Yeah, I would absolutely recommend Thinglink as the replacement for Tour Creator. And that's not like the only tool, but I mean, just to cut to the chase, that's what I have found to be the best replacement. I kind of found myself really scrambling on that because that was a session I had for ISTE last year when ISTE got moved to late November, early December. And within it was a matter of weeks prior to that they sort of released the blog post saying, hey, okay, Tour Creator and Tour Builder are going away. I'm like, oh, great.
Wait,
I'm
what?
supposed to be presenting this at virtual ISTE Live here in a couple of weeks. Great.
Yeah.
What do I do? And so I ended up saying, well, let's do Google Earth and let's talk about the tour capabilities in there. Let's do that. But then as I just looked at loads and loads and loads, Thinglink really has a very nice 360-degree feature. And it is free for educators. And so, I wish it was free for students, those features, those advanced features. Mm-hmm. But it is free for educators. And honestly, it's actually better than Tour Creator in a number of respects.
Here we go.
It's really easy to use. It's really slick. It's easy to use. It's very easy to add a lot of media and resources to it. Mm-hmm. The thing where you run into the pitfall is it doesn't have the wonderful benefit of all the Street View images. That was
right.
That's a loss. I mean, I don't know how to replace that really. Now, I do have a trick that I do in my session because I do sessions now on Thinglink in place of Tour Creator. And there is a way that you can go to Google Street View, find a photo sphere in Street View that you're wanting to use, copy the link in a certain way from that, come back to Thinglink and embed it. It's not quite the same, but you can embed it as a link. So you're in the Thinglink and then you click on the link and then it opens this additional 360 sphere that is a Street View sphere. Now you don't have all the annotations that you normally have in that case, but it does work. It is a workaround. So I have found that to be so far my favorite replacement for it.
So does Thinglink let you create your own 360 photos, or do you have to have them somewhere else just to upload them to Thinglink? How does that work?
Sure, yeah, you would upload them.
Yeah.
Now there's a gallery, there's a certain amount of public domain images available, but the idea would be you would be uploading your own images. So using a 360 camera or just using, an app on your phone, just like even just using the Street View app and going boop, 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 and taking all the pictures. And then, it makes the photosphere for you. And so, yeah, you can upload your own pictures to it.
Yeah, we have those 360 Theta cameras at Grant Wood that have been
those are nice.
Gathering a little bit of dust over the pandemic there.
Yeah.
So it might be time to break those out again.
Yeah. I mean, having said that, it's still a shame. There's just no way around it. It's just, and that's a whole other thing that was a heartbreaker. Google has sent some things to the graveyard in the past. I've been like, okay, I kind of get it, whatever. Yeah, this one I still vehemently object to. It's just, I do not believe this was the right choice to shut down Expeditions and Tour Creator. I get Tour Builder. We've got that replaced inside of Google Earth, but Tour Create, we need more options for student creativity, not less.
Right.
And this is now an area that's, as far as Google goes, it's off the table. We've got to find other tools to do it.
Yeah, and especially for those schools that invested in expedition kits and all those phones and all of the rest.
We're talking, $30,000. We're talking, tens of thousands of dollars putting into this. Just, wow, it's a shame. It's an absolute shame. It really is.
Okay. Well, we've talked about it before. We should
I know. Let's
linger on it a bit too long.
Let's think about positive things. Let's be happy.
So Google Drawings in the classroom, that has me intrigued a little bit because on this podcast, Mindy is one of these people that says, you know what, I will use Google Slides every time before I use Google Drawings.
Sure. Oh, sure.
Yep.
How much? What do you think the unique parts of Google Drawings are that make it stand out from Slides?
Yeah.
More?
So, I mean, I will certainly echo what Mindy is saying there. Yeah, if you can do it in Drawings, 99% of the time you can do it in Slides. There is such a small difference there. And Slides makes a lot of reasons to use because you can have the activity just like you would in Google Drawings, but then you can have supplemental slides that, support it or go deeper or something like that. So yeah, I'm not here to say, Drawings is better than Slides, but what makes the difference? Well, I mean, it would be a few things. Sometimes it's just the matter that you don't need as much, options, and just one canvas is enough, and there's no need to have more. And so, hey, simpler is maybe better in a case like that. But the other thing I would say is Google Drawings has one option that Slides doesn't, and that is the ability to make a transparent background. That's not an option in Slides. You can make it white, but you can't make it transparent. Now, do you need that? No, but are there projects where you do? Yeah. There are times when you're doing design and you want to make something that's transparent because then you're going to take that and put that into something else. And so in a case like that, that's really nice. I certainly appreciate having that option. But after that, I don't know that I would say that. I mean, I always introduce Google Drawings by basically telling people, hey, it's Google Slides if you had one slide. That's pretty much, what it is. Yeah. But it's simple, it's clean. Sometimes that's all you need is the one. Of course, we could compare it to Jamboard as well. I mean, and there's crossover there, and there's things that are different. So, really between Slides, Jamboard, and Drawings, all of those are canvases that we can create on. And I just say, get used to each of them and use the one that you're most comfortable with. Certainly out of those, slides is the most powerful. But even take Jamboard. I mean, it doesn't have as many features, but sometimes that's great. The fact that it doesn't have a bunch, it's just really, really clean and simple. And the sticky notes are awesome. Of course, everybody loves those in Jamboard.
But if we could just have hyperlinks in Jamboard, everything would be fantastic.
Well, yeah. And I don't know. That's good. That's a good question. I mean, what else are they going to? Because it has taken off like gangbusters.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would say like the same thing with drawings. I don't always get why Google doesn't flesh out certain things. Like Google Drawings does not have an insert video option like Google Slides does, but it supports videos. If you just go to Google Slides and insert a video, you can copy and paste it into Drawings and it works fine. Why isn't why isn't it in the menu? Why isn't it there? Now, another thing though I would say that I do like about Drawings, and I think this is probably worth mentioning, is if you want to incorporate it with Google Docs, because let's say you want to make like a hyperdoc and you want it to be more included just in the document itself. So with Google Drawings, I can build this really neat drag and drop thing. And yes, I can do it in Slides too. Absolutely. But I can make this neat, organizing activity or brainstorming thing or compare and contrast or whatever it is, math manipulatives. And then in Google Docs, I can insert that drawing into the Google document. And then when the students get their copy of the Google document, they've got this embedded drawing that they can double click on, open it up, manipulate it, hit, save, and it reinserts it back into the document. Now, could I do that in a slideshow? Sure, but it's going to be a separate file. Now I got two files. Now I'm linking out to something else. Sure. Whereas Google Drawings, if we do leverage that, we can make a far more engaging, interactive Google document. It's really the tool to bring some of that awesome interactivity into a document that you couldn't have otherwise.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
So I was going to say, all your sessions at ITEC here are all Google-based sessions, and a lot of the stuff you do on your blog is Google. How did you get into that side of things? That it became, it's not the only thing you do, I know, but it becomes such a big part of what you do and a lot of what you're known for.
Right. Well, I mean, for us, it was a matter of me being at North Canton schools, like you had mentioned, and I wouldn't expect people to know this, but North Canton was the home of Hoover appliances. And many, many years ago, while I was there in the school district, so I've been doing this, like I said, 29 years, so probably 25 plus years ago, the Hoover company left. That happens with businesses, but our city was built on that. And it just drastically changed, the budgets we had to work with all of a sudden. And I found myself being, a tech integration person, newly moved to that position from teaching math. And suddenly it's like, and we have no money. So what do we do? And so I'm out there searching for, okay, so what's the solution? And I looked at a lot of things, but, eventually, it was, this Google Apps thing sounds pretty neat. And at that point, I think only 2 other school districts in the state of Ohio that I was aware of were using Google Apps. And I talked to both. They were friends of mine and I visited with them. And I said, we got to do this, guys. And so that's what got me into it in the beginning, was that it was a free alternative when we really needed something like that. And then I think, it's kind of like a snowball. I mean, I got started in it really early and started sharing resources, and then that just grew. And over time, it allowed me to be able to connect with folks all over the country, all over the world, sharing these resources. Now, today, I still, I'm strongly supporting of the Google tools. Well, lots of technologies, but the Google tools, because again, it's free now. Yep, we've got the enterprise tier, which is now going to be teaching and learning, and Google Education Plus, and however you want to call it.
Yep.
But the core is free, and it's not that, oh, hey, here's a free program called Google Slides you can make slideshows with. It's more than that. It's a tool that we can make stop motion animation with and choose your own adventure stories with and, drag and drop activities. And it's about Google providing us with a set of tools that we can do so many amazing things with. And the schools I support, some have big budgets, some have little, some are, big schools, little schools, city schools, rural schools, they're all over the map. And I always want to know if I'm going to take my time to invest in a video, I'm going to train somebody on how to do something. If I'm going to put the time into that, I want it to be able to reach as many people as possible. So I'm constantly drawn toward what's free or what has a free version so that I'm not going to put something out there and have half of my schools go, oh, awesome, and half go, well, we can't afford that. So I think that's one of the driving things for me is it a technology that's not an end in itself? Is it a tool that can be used in a lot of ways? And is it something that is either totally free or at least has a free version that is viable for schools to use? And if it does that kind of stuff, then, awesome. Let's hit the ground running and think of all these awesome ways we can now incorporate it into teaching our students and helping them learn. So that's been the driving force for why I continue to stay in, mostly focusing on the Google ecosystem. Yeah.
Well, I think we find that challenging at times too, because, a lot of times people want to know what the newest, greatest next thing is. And a lot of times I'm like, but Google does that. You can do what you're looking for in Google. So why a new tool? Why not use the same tools and just try and find different ways to use them? And so sometimes I think our job is a lot about the, what's new and what's exciting. But at the same time, I'm always like, but why would you want to learn something new or have another login or send kids somewhere else when all of this can be built in this home base that you've already created and you have access to and integrates into all of the other things that you already have access to? And so
Absolutely.
It's nice to hear someone else kind of say that too and not just feel like a total snob about it.
Well, no. I mean, I'm totally with you there. Of course, I love tools that also play nicely in the sandbox. They play nicely in the ecosystem. Like I love Moat. It's not like it's new, but I absolutely love Moat. It plays so nicely with inserting audio directly into slides or adding, audio comments into docs or classroom. Beautiful. That's the kind of stuff I love to see is where we all play together nicely.
Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned there, I just slipped out. I know it was there, but Google Apps for Education. Do you remember when it was way back? Google Apps. I felt quite comfortable with that name, and then we went to G Suite, and now we're on Workspace, and who knows what we'll be in a few months' time. But I think that just speaks to the testament of all the changes and everything that Google has done over the time. So I know how Mindy and I fail to keep up with all of those updates and changes, but you seem really good at getting these blog posts out with like what's new this month and all the latest changes and things. How do you keep up with all that stuff? You got any tips for people who are interested in keeping up with all the latest changes from Google?
Sure. So the absolute highest answer to that, the biggest answer is I use Feedly. So Feedly is my number one tool for this. Now, don't get me wrong. I also get great stuff from YouTube, from podcasts, from Twitter, from Facebook groups. So I get stuff from a lot of things, but my absolute for sure go-to source is Feedly. So if people aren't familiar with that, it's an RSS aggregator. Google used to have Google Reader talking about things Google has sent to the graveyard. They used to have Google Reader that did this. Basically what Feedly does is it allows you to subscribe to websites, to blogs. And so most any website that does periodic updates has an RSS feed, real simple syndication. And that RSS feed is what allows us to pull content from websites then into a site like Feedly. And so what I've done over the years is in Feedly, I have created categories. So I've got a category called Google. I've got a category called EdTech. I've got a category called Subjects. And so inside of each of those, I start subscribing to websites and blog posts that cater to those. So, I'd have to check, but I think inside of the Google one, I probably have maybe 30 or so subscriptions that are blogs, like all of the Google official blogs, but also things like 9 to 5 Google and, other ones that, deal with updates and things for Google. Well, here's the idea. All I have to do is just simply go to Feedly and just click on the Google category, and everything from all of those sites comes to one place. And I can just see the headlines of every single new blog post from those blogs. And I just try to periodically, it's maybe not every day, it probably doesn't happen, but every couple of days, get on there and I just go click, 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 and I click on every single one of them and just kind of quickly glance. And it doesn't take long to be like, nah, that doesn't apply. Like, oh, that's interesting. And so that I let that tool bring the content to me rather than me visiting 100 websites. Same thing for EdTech. I mean, I probably, in my EdTech category, I've got well over 100 blogs in there. And it's everybody you can imagine out there. Anybody I come across that's, doing any kind of EdTech blogging, I throw them into my Feedly subscriptions because I want to learn from them. And I just go click, click, click. And I go, oh, wow, that's awesome. I love that, And so then I'll share it out or I'll put it into my updates and, it'll be something that I can then hopefully share on a broader scale to others. So yeah, that's my number one thing that works for me. I guess everybody's got to find what works for you, but
we appreciate you doing it so we don't have to.
Yeah.
So carry on. You're doing great. Good job, soldier.
Keep up the good work. And then we just go to one place. We just go to Control-Alt-Achieve, and then, we get all the stuff there.
Eric got going on?
Aggregates of Eric's feed. Right. There you go.
So that being said, Eric, where would people find you online? Although they probably, if they listen to this podcast, they probably know, but where would they find you and all your amazing EdTech information? Yeah,
so the easiest thing is just go to controlaltachieve.com because you'll find all the links from there. Sure, on most all social medias, I'm just Eric Curts, ERICCURTS, so Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and all those things. But probably if you just go to controlaltachieve.com, that's the easiest because there you can find all my blog posts and my link to my YouTube channel with all my videos, my link to Twitter. I've got links to the video webinars I've done, links to my book that's out, links to some online courses I've done, a newsletter you can subscribe to kind of get a little, update each month on, hey, what's new? So anything that I share, I try to have that be the main place that I share things through, even though I try to get out onto a lot of different channels to reach people where they're at. But yeah, that's definitely the hub to go to.
Awesome. We'll put a link to that in the show notes. But last question. Would you like to stick around and do some tech nuggets with us?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to.
Awesome.
All right. So up next is our favorite part of the show, Tech Nuggets. And Eric's sticking around. And actually, Eric may not know this, but he's always here for Tech Nuggets because you're my go-to always. So you've saved me a million times. I'm like, well, I need a Tech Nugget. Let's see. What's Eric got going on? So
he's always here in spirit.
He's always here in spirit. That's right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes. All right. Who wants to go first?
Well, because Eric's here, I only have one. So you want me to go first, and then I'll just sit back and be lazy?
Sure.
Yes. Okay. All right. So I have this thing called, I think it's Textanum, because it's a cross between animation and text. And so you can put in a little bit of text, whatever, and it will make a GIF out of however you've designed your text. And there's like different patterns you can use, different background colors, different font sizes. There are a couple different things like this out there. This one is free though, and you don't have to have an account. You can just download it straight onto your desktop. And I think it's kind of a fun thing to use if you are working with slides. It works in Google Docs, anything just to kind of, catch your eye, something different to do. And I just thought it was kind of something fun, maybe not something that you'd come across or think about using. So textanum.com. And then you just generate it, download it, toss it into whatever you'd like to use it.
That's fun. I just copy and pasted it into our doc, but it didn't do the animation, so I guess I need to download it first.
You have to download
get
it, yes.
Get it as a GIF or something?
As a GIF, yes. Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's a fun one.
Oh, you use my name even. Oh, that's so cute.
I know. And Eric was here, so I was polite.
Yeah, but even as not a GIF, it still is kind of fun, right? Like even if you just toss it in there, it just makes the font a little bit different. And
you want to spice up a Google slide or something like that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
All right, well, I'll go next. I've got a couple of quick ones I'll do here for you. I guess this is the first one is a tool I've been using for a while that I just kind of take for granted, and then I don't know if other people use these things or not, so I thought I'd share. And that's the idea of a clipboard manager, because normally when you like Control-C or Command-C to copy something, you just copy one thing. But if you have a clipboard manager, you can copy multiple things and have like a whole list of things copied. So for instance, like when I'm building a course in Canvas or something, I might want to copy the title of the article, but also the URL for the article. And so you just hit copy one and then you copy the other. And then when you go up to your little clipboard manager, you can paste one and then click on the other one and paste the other one. And then you get both of those things. So you can just go copy crazy and paste a whole bunch of things down there. So the app is called CopyClip for Mac. On Windows, there's a built-in clipboard called, and you just do Window key plus V on Windows 10. And so that works fine. And Eric's got an update for Chromebooks as well, because I looked for Chromebooks and I saw like coming soon for Chromebooks, but I didn't actually see if it was here or not. Is it here now for Chromebooks?
I don't know if it's here yet or not, but they announced it for the 10th birthday. Chrome on I think it was the 9th of this month. Of March. Chromebooks had their 10th birthday, and Google announced that one of the many features that is either rolling out or soon will be rolling out is the clipboard in Chrome OS will save the last 5 things you've copied.
Nice.
And which talk about things that went away. Do you guys remember WebClipboard that was built into Google Docs?
No.
Way
How old are you,
back.
Eric?
I've been doing this 29 years. I'll be turning 52 this year. Originally, Google Docs it was one of the features I mentioned. I used to do a session called, Fabulous Features of Google Docs. WebClipboard was in the edit menu. If you went to edit, you could do a regular copy paste or you could copy paste to the WebClipboard. I loved it. So you could be sitting on one computer, copy something, go home and paste it, because it was just built in. It was just part of Docs and they got rid of it.
I know.
Figure that out.
I completely forgot about that, but yeah. Well, there's always that fun game you can play where you're on a Zoom call or something and you say, everybody just paste the last thing that you copied and stick it in chat and you go boom.
That's not safe.
Who knows what comes up
Not
there,
safe, that's right, yeah.
Not safe.
Passwords and all kinds of stuff.
You have to be real close with those Zoom partners, yeah.
Yeah, you do. Okay, so I'll do my second tech nugget then, which is a recent announcement from Google. I know Eric's probably seen this one already, but Chrome can now provide caption audio and video. So just it's built into the accessibility features inside of Chrome now. You can go and flip that on, and although a lot of videos like YouTube and things will do automatic captions for you, the one place that we find that you can't get these very easily or automatically very easily is in like Google Drive. You share that Google Drive video, and although you can upload the caption file and all that, it takes time to build that out and everything. But if you turn this on, and I was just testing it before the podcast here, it works really well. It will just automatically pop up. You hit the CC button and I think it automatically pops up and just does real-time transcription of video, audio, and it works across social media sites. It works offline. It does it all on device, so it's not sending anything up to the cloud or anything else. So I think it's just a fun feature if you want to try that and play with that, or ask your kids if they want to turn that on their devices too.
That is awesome. I recently just saw that came out and added it to my accessibility and accommodations resources that I try to collect. And it is great for a lot of things. It could be, if somebody's having a hard time hearing, or if that is something that they struggle with normally, but also just for reinforcement of when students are learning to read. There's a lot of studies that show hearing something and seeing the words of it at the same time help build that connection between the written word and the spoken word, and help students when they're first reading. So to have captions on things, whether it's on your television or YouTube videos or things like this, can also reinforce students learning how to read.
Absolutely. Yep. I'm a big fan of captions. I
Yes.
have them on at home a lot of the time too. So,
I always have them
I
on.
think, especially you hear things that, you don't normally hear sometimes on TVs, like background conversations between characters that are captioned there that you wouldn't hear normally. And it's quite illuminating. So
I first started doing that when my daughter was just a baby, because, and this was forever ago, but when she'd finally get to sleep at night, I didn't want to wake her up. And so if I wanted to watch a show, I would turn on the caption so I could read it, or have the volume really, really low, and just found the incredible benefit of, like you said, catching things that you otherwise wouldn't have noticed. And so I apologize to anybody that ever watches a show with me. You're going to see captions. I turn them on all the time, constantly. Awesome.
All right, Eric, why don't you share some of your nuggets with us to round off the show?
Yeah, so I just went with the theme on screencasting tools. I love the ones we've had for a while. Screencastify, Loom, Nimbus, things like that. They're wonderful, fantastic. But I think the pandemic has really put a lot of focus on the importance of being able to easily record ourselves, do either recording our screen ourselves, both, and sharing those out. And so 3 things that kind of hit my radar recently. One was that with the latest version of Chrome OS, so I think it's version 89 of the Chromebook operating system, screen capture for video is now built in. I should say screen recording tool, not screen capturing tool. Sorry about that, because we've had screen capture, but screen recording. And so now if you go down to the little, menu in the bottom right where your clock is at, there's a screen recording button, and it's very basic right now. It records the screen and it saves it, and that's pretty much it. But from what Google mentioned with their big Learning with Google event in February, they mentioned they expect to do a lot of development with this tool. So maybe it'll turn into an actual editor with more features and so forth. But hey, it's there right now. So if you're in a Chromebook, you can easily do screen recording right there from the Chromebook. Then the second one I want to mention is an extension that's not new, but it got an update recently. So Clay Smith does a lot of amazing extensions under the website of Clay Codes, claycodes.org. And Record to Slides is one of his extensions that I've just been loving recently, because, you want to put video into a Google slideshow, and this could be awesome for students. Let's say you create a Google slideshow with a prompt for the students to answer, share the slideshow with all of your class, give everybody edit rights, let everybody get their own slide and respond to it, and then read each other's responses. Well, what if you want them to throw themselves into it, especially if they're learning at home and you start losing that connection? Wouldn't it be awesome for kids to record themselves, put themselves right into the slide? Well, of course I can do that with, Screencastify, save it to my drive, go to Google Slides, insert the video, whatever. Well, Record to Slides, though, it's just so easy. You're in Google Slides, you hit the little, it's a little camera record button at the top. You hit it, it pops up, and you can say, I want to record my webcam and or my, my screen. You can set the permissions right in the pop-up. It records, you hit done, boom, drops it right into your slide. So, of course, it's uploading it to your drive, it's sharing it, and it's inserting it. So easy to put video into a Google slide with that. And then the last I'm going to mention, still learning a lot about this one. I've signed up for it and tried it out. It's called Threadit. And this is from Google. Google has a division called Area 120, which is their incubator for new ideas. And Threadit came out of that. So Threadit, Threadit. And it is a website and an extension that lets you record your webcam and or your screen, which you say, well, that sounds like a lot of these other tools. But what I like about it is a couple of things that are pretty clever with it. First of all, when you go to do the recording, it treats each recording as little clips. So you can say, okay, I need to do a recording, but you can start and stop and you can do multiple clips and it will line them all up for you. And you can then save them all as one video. So it's actually got a little bit of editing built right into it. But then when you get done saving it, the whole idea is that you're going to be sharing it with others. And when you share that video out to them, when you send it out to them, you can choose whether they can reply or not. And that will let them record a threaded in response, a video in response to you. So the idea is initially for tech support or for project management within an organization. You can tell from the website that's their thinking. They're thinking business, they're thinking project management. But we as educators, give us anything and we're going to turn it on its head and go, hey, here's what we can do with it. Yeah. Now, at the moment, the only limitation is it's available for anybody with a personal Gmail account. If you try to access it with a Google Workspace account, it does pop up and say that they're still working on getting it approved to work with, enterprise or whatever, workspace type accounts. There's a form you can fill out. And I did when I was on the website to say, hey, we'd like to use this, but it looks pretty interesting. Be curious to see where this might go as an easy way to record your screen, record yourself, and then get that sent out to others.
That does look like an interesting one. Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued by that. It almost looks like one of those Google 20% projects that someone was working on. And
yep, you got it.
Some of those come to life in all kinds of different ways, and others never see the light of day, I'm sure. But yeah, that's a good one. Very good.
But the point is, it's easier than ever to record ourselves and get that. And goes a long way to being more personal, to, letting our students have a voice, letting them hear our voice, see us, and have us all staying connected together. So take advantage of those.
Yeah, and I think people are much more at ease about doing that kind of thing now. I think there's a lot of teachers, almost like a lot of students, that don't want to be on video, and they'll do a screencast, but they won't have their face on there and things like that, and that's fine. But I think like you said, making more of that personal connection, tools like these will help with that.
Well, Eric Curts, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys.
In real life.
My pleasure.
About as close to real life as we'll get before,
for a little
we start
while.
to meet up at these conferences and things in person now. Yeah. We will definitely be tuning into your ITEC presentations for sure. We're looking forward to seeing those. So we'll put links to those as well as registration for the conference in the show notes there. But thank you again for coming on, Eric.
It was my pleasure.
All right. So I think that's about everything we have for this week, Mindy.
Right.
And it probably rounds up our interview series for a while. Maybe you and I should just,
actually work.
Go back and, do some work. Yeah. Well, Mindy always said, the interview episodes are the easiest ones because we don't have to talk as much as. But that's everything we have for this week. So until next time.
This has been the EdTech Takeout. We hope it hit the spot.
For more information on today's episode, please visit dlgwaea.org/podcast.